there's three climbs I'm thinking of. There's Bear. I'm not sure chronologically how they fall. There's Bear, Norwegian Buttress, and Dolomite Tower.
Oh, right.
So are they? Is that the sequence?
They were all, yeah, it was, Dolomite Tower was the third of the three. Yeah.
How was climbing Dolomite Tower?
Well, it's interesting because I sort of looked at Mount Bear, and I'd been up there in the 70s a few times climbing it. You know, we climbed the Becky route. And then I could see all this rock, but I knew that, you know, like I couldn't quite figure out how to climb it. So I went back in the mid 80s, and I went through a few partners trying to get up Dolomite Tower. So there's Bear Mountain next to it is Dolomite Tower, if you're familiar with it. And so that summer I went up with two different partners, and they both didn't want to go at some point. They thought it was like too much. So I went back in September then and decided, well, we left our gear up there. So I figured, well, I'd either have to take it down or just go for it. I couldn't find anybody, or I didn't even try because I was so sick of partners bailing out. So I just went up there by myself and did it. And that was like an 11-day solo.
Wow.
But I already done half of it, you know, so
yeah.
But you got to realize
11 days.
This is 11 days, most of which were spent with no ledges bigger than maybe 1 foot in size.
Yeah, and my hammock, like the last time I was up there with my friend, and he set up the hammock for me kind of wrong, and I ripped through it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I don't know, somehow the hammock got destroyed the last time I was up there, and I kind of forgotten about it, didn't pay attention. So when I went up there, I didn't have a hammock, and it was just harder than I thought, and it just I just assumed there'd be ledges, and there weren't.
There weren't no ledges,
no ledges, and bullet hard rock with almost no crack systems. So he's doing hooks and copperheads.
Oh my
and
god!
Run out, and he'd do entire pitches. There's at least one pitch on there that we figured out after the fact. It was probably A5, which means if you fell, you die, basically.
Wow.
Well,
and basically and just the little rivets, and like the rock is like way harder than granite, and so you have to like, and he's hand drilling. And how many drill bits? How many? Like 25 drill bits.
Yeah.
So he's breaking drill bits and trying to get all, and so you're doing this whole huge face with actual bolts that are only 1/4-inch bolts anyway. You probably only used like a couple dozen, maybe.
I think there were about 25 bolts on
yeah.
Oh my god.
Which for like 1,000 feet of blank climbing through roofs and all this stuff. So it's like this insanely like incredibly ballsy thing with no sleep, basically, because he's hanging in slings at the night.
Wow.
And
just full exposure the whole way.
And there's that, and this is one of the nodes in this whole thing between me and Pete, where we coincide again, because I'm at the low point of my health crisis that I had in the mid 80s. And I would just go up and hike to Barkley with binoculars, and I look up, I could see equipment up there, and I'm like, oh, someone's climbing this huge face, but I didn't know who it was or what was going on. But Pete's final push, 11 days into September. And did it go bad weather-wise too?
It was kind of rainy, off and on rainy. Yeah.
And then you came back down. I remember you said something like you got sciatica or something, like you could barely move.
I couldn't. After being in stirrups for say 9 or 10 days, standing up in stirrups, I couldn't, or belay seat. That's all I could before I got to a ledge. And by the time I got to a ledge, I was basically off the climb. There were no ledges on this climb for some reason.
Yeah.
I lost feeling in my legs, and so I came home, and I had to have my hands were all a mess, puffed and swollen. I couldn't untie my rock shoes, so I had to have my rock shoes. Couldn't untie them, and then my first night in a bed, all my legs swelled up. I couldn't walk. So I couldn't walk, and everything went numb. Like I had abused my legs so much by standing for 11 days that they went numb, and then after a day or two, they gradually got feeling, except for my feet, and then my feet stayed numb for months and months.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, months and months. I couldn't feel my feet, but my legs came back. But the first night when I lay down, I couldn't walk. I woke up in the middle of the night, and shock had settled in or something, and I had to like crawl to the bathroom, and I couldn't walk just from the abuse that I put on it by standing up for 10 days straight.